Aloha, kako. Welcome and good evening to everyone. My name is James Eustace, and I'm the president of the Waimea Community Association. Thank you to those of you joining us online tonight. This week, beginning with tonight, we'll be holding a series of virtual interviews with the individuals that have filed for the seat of Hawaii County Mayor. We've invited all those who have filed. This evening, we'll be hearing from 6 different candidates over the course of the next 2 hours. I encourage you to follow the Waimea Community Association on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You may also find relevant information and resources on our website at waimeatown.org. We strive to keep our accounts active and up to date. At this point, I would like to recognize the Waimea Community Association board members, our Vice President, Mike Donnelly, our Treasurer, Louis Dubois, our Secretary, Frankie Pang, Assistant Secretary, Patty Cook, and our directors, Nancy Carr-Smith, Riley Smith, Lonnie Olson-Chong, David Greenwell, and Llewellyn Kumalai. The Waimea Community Association Board is grateful for the support shown by the community to hold virtual town meetings. As mentioned, tonight we'll be hearing from 6 different candidates. Though they will be appearing in different order, the alphabetical order of candidates tonight are Neil Azevedo, Bob Fitzgerald, Wendell Kaehuaya, Yumi Kawano, Mitch Roth, and Mike Ruggles. The candidates will be calling in throughout the evening, joining us to give a 2-minute self-introduction. After their self-introduction, candidates will then be asked a series of questions over 12 minutes. These questions have been submitted ahead of time by community members. We are excited to receive nearly 100 questions. We do apologize if your specific question was not asked this evening, but we have done our best to capture a wide range of topics. Questions were selected and consolidated based upon the consensus of input we received, and we hope the questions asked of the candidates during this forum series better inform your decision during the election process. If you do have an inquiry of the candidates and we were unable to get to your specific question, I would encourage you to ask them or their campaign staff directly. Thank you for taking the time to submit questions to the Waimea Community Association and for helping to make the question answer portion community driven. Candidates will be timed and a bell will sound when their time expires. Candidates have been encouraged to keep their answers concise and direct for the benefit of them answering more of the community generated questions. All candidates will have the opportunity to answer the same questions, time permitting. Each candidate will be on the video conferencing call for 15 minutes, after which they will be dismissed. Tonight, I will be joined by our Waimea Community Association Treasurer, Louis Dubois, and one of our Waimea Community Association board members, Nancy Carr-Smith, as they assist in presenting the questions to the candidates. This evening, we are also joined and grateful to have Ms. Sandy Ma, the Executive Director for Common Cause Hawaii, to join us throughout the evening and provide important information about the voting process for 2020. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They work to create open, honest, and accountable government that serves the public interest, promote equal rights, opportunity, and representation for all, and empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. Common Cause Hawaii aims to strengthen public participation in government, to curb the excess influence of money in politics, to ensure that government serves the common good rather than special interests, and to promote fair, honest, and modern elections, and to fight for a vigorous, independent, and diverse media. Ms. Sandy Ma will share details with us throughout the evening about the vote by mail system. This is a big step for our state as we transition to vote by mail, and we wish to help our communities learn more about this process. At this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Bob Fitzgerald to join us on the call and begin his 2-minute self-introduction. Welcome, Bob.
How about now?
There you go. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
All right. Nice to see faces with the voice. James, aloha. Nice. Thank
Aloha.
you for having
Welcome.
me.
So you may begin your 2-minute self-introduction now.
2-minute instruction.
Self-introduction, yes.
Introduction. One longtime resident, moved here right out of college. A lot of passion for this island. Always thank special education teacher at Konawaina. Thank Jim Berry for getting me involved in coaching in 1980. Got me passion for, I was never leaving this place. Very successful as a football coach at Konawaina for many years, 20-something years, president of the West Hawaii Youth Council, where we actually built things with county funds. Got a lot of things done at the old airport, and very thankful later on through my coaching that Billy Canois seeked me out on being his parks director. It got me a chance to be inside government, have the experience, see how it works, and community meetings. We did community meetings around this whole island, which would be my style. I know I'm a leader. I always feel government is very defensive minded, but it doesn't have much offense and special teams that me as a coach background in me. Very well connected to your community. My kids and grandkids live there. Would help build the regional park, district park, and the very original charrettes that went with the district park. The Waimea Trails and Greenway, part of that process. Mel, God, just drew a blank on Mel's name, sitting him and say, hey, we're going to build that park. And we end up doing. And also as West Hawaii Youth Council, a big example from your Waimea community for what they did at Anui Nui, the kids' playground. We took that, you guys worked with the county to build something up, and that's what we did in Kona in a lot of different projects. So my history goes way back. Both my daughters went to HBA. I had a son, my first son went to Parker. I just came back from your area. I go there on a daily basis because of my grandkids, and I have experience to get the job done as your mayor.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate your self-introduction there. Thank you for the 2 minutes there. We'll now roll into our question and answer session, and our board member, Nancy Carr-Smith, will be asking you, Mr. Fitzgerald, a couple of the questions for the next 12 minutes here.
Okay,
So thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. She's
Hey,
a test
Bob.
that I've been to your meetings.
Nice to see you, Bob.
Yeah, aloha.
For being here. We're going to dive right into the questions with the administration. So if you're elected mayor, you will be tasked with appointing department heads, deputies, staff, and council, totaling somewhere 60, 65 people, maybe more. How do you plan to make these selections, and what will you look for when selecting these key staff members?
Well, one is going to be experience of the job, character of the individual. My administration will be very transparent. Want to make sure they have, when you get to that top level, they have to have people skills because they have to manage down below. What I bring to the table is good communication skills and make sure that gets filtered down throughout. I'm going to take people that are expert in that department division. If we are at tough economic times, it's keeping that level of government would be the part that I would cut back a little bit on furloughs or extra days. The heads are going to be solid, and it's going to be non-political. It's going to be nonpartisan. It's going to be people who can get the job done and people that are very community minded.
What about diversification? Will you diversify geographically and employ staff members that represent the entire island?
Absolutely. One of the things I see that's very sad, one of the reasons I'm running, is I go to West Hawaii Civic Center, where the county owns that building. I was there when we opened it, and it was a place of heaven for people to be able to come and have music, not just be a government office. It's a morgue right now. And I believe it's well underused, and it's owned by a county. It produces more power than it produces. As you remember, in the Kanoe administration, the directors and deputies were required to be in Kona at least one day a week. I would be the same thing. Some of the deputies and directors would work out of Kona to at least maximize a facility that the county already owns. And even Waimea, you guys got to go each direction. You know, why can't we keep one of the council office or at least a space at the DMV where we could have some of our staff members come to you. And I'm going to be hands-on. I'm going to be community-minded. We'll come to you like I did when I was Parks Director.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the economy. In light of the recent economic impacts of COVID-19, how would you move Hawaii County towards a more diversified economy?
Well, slow process. Go ahead.
If you could, please provide 2 specific examples of what you would do to rebuild our economy.
Well, a slow process. It's not going to happen overnight. As we learned in these last few months, the diversification of the tourist industry, construction, those things are going pretty smooth. It's that the people at the hotels, it's the restaurant, and try to diverse a little more into ag. My main thing would be in medical training and facilities, oceanography, businesses that we can bring in that are safe, clean, and that we can produce or give outside, that we can export to other places. Honolulu, don't forget, we're a huge Honolulu market. Tourism-wise, first people back are the people that are outsiders that actually own here. We're not going to get away the tourists, and this place is going to be a hot item, and we got to be able to select that because we're a warm weather place that's safe. America, low C19. People are going to be swarming here, and we have to find a way of let the owners come back that own houses or condos, the timeshare owners that own place, they have pride, they have kitchens, we can isolate them. And that would be about 20% right there. So I really feel the difference of being is about a 20-cent range. I believe between the owners that come back is 20, and then what we do with the rest over the hotels. Hotels are half. Marriott, half the places, the timeshare. Hilton, over half the places, timeshare. Sheraton can go up and down. But those people own here, committed, and will be there, and they have money when they come. That's the other thing. So
Okay.
Diversification in the ag and clean industries, medical profession, can use North Community Hospital as a huge example what it's done for the community. They need something that in Central Kona.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to move on to energy. How will you help Hawaii County become energy self-sufficient to reduce our dependence on fossil fuel?
We need to go to waste energy. I know the county evaluated it years ago. It's been a process, but there's new technology out there. I mean, there is, and I would farm it out, put an RFP out for a company to come in and take our waste. Hilo landfill, be great if we could dig it up and burn the fuel. Too many unknowns with that. But why do we have to keep our carbon input of taking big trucks, bringing the trash to the Waikoloa fill area? We need to recycle better, and we need to reevaluate taking our waste from this moment forward and putting it to energy and finding the source for the energy. As you saw just recently, we have some solar things going on. We know we have wind. There's no reason. When I moved here 43 years ago, that's the first thing I thought, man, this is a place that should be self-sufficient. We're 43 years later, and we're only like here. And one of the passions I have is I've seen so much, and I didn't want to be 3 years from now saying, why didn't I try to be mayor when I see so much and I've been trying for so much, especially on the west side. Is the only way it gets done if you're the man that said do it.
And Bob, do you support geothermal as an option?
I bring it back where it's existing because of what happened with the lava flow. We got to tread water on that. I really don't know unless I sat down with great minds, great scientists. If they were, I heard that they were trying to do something at Hualai with all the homes. It's not worth the risk. You know, you got to be pain and gain. It could be a lot of pain and not a lot of gain. Yeah, we can gain, but the pain outweighs it. And that's kind of my approach on a lot of things. We're not going to be able to weigh that pain and gain is. And you know how the Puna community and what all the issues came later after geothermal. You really have to be transparent with the communities and dig into expert scientists to give us a, to make the choice on good information.
Okay. Moving on to agriculture and food security. Agriculture is an important driver to help diversify economy and improve food self-reliance in our county. If elected mayor, what's your vision for agriculture? If you could share a specific strategy.
I've been a farmer ever since I moved here. Started as an orchid plantation. I ran a farm for 25 years. The land I had bordered the University of Hawaii Agriculture Department. I used to go all their coffee meetings, and I was more interested in the flower market at the time, and didn't really realize the food source that can be produced here. We have Honolulu is a big market for us. We need to expand the agriculture because, Kauai's very limited, Maui's very limited. The big island should be the source of all agriculture. And there's, we have the market with just the Honolulu. Forget to go anywhere else. I'm big on agriculture. I've been, unfortunately, I've sprayed Roundup for many years, and we got to be diversified, the food industry. I actually got a vision of, hey, the kind of restaurant busboy or waiter, can he get a little piece of helping with the farm and get more hours in? Got to be creative with that. But your area is a perfect example. Why is Merriman so successful? Fresh island food, and people don't mind to pay the extra. And I think we're all in that mentality, Seville.
Right.
As far as I'm going to buy local.
Right. I want to get to a couple more topics. Time goes by quickly here.
Yes, it does. I know it's not a lot of time. I was hoping it would be everybody.
Homelessness, houselessness, affordable housing. We could just kind of be a little bit brief about this, but we want to touch on it. It's so important. There were serious issues before COVID-19, but many fear that it could get worse now with the high unemployment. If you could share a couple of specific strategies you might have in terms of
homelessness. And when was I first started? I've been in meetings 12 years ago, and I was sure it went on before. Youth council, homelessness at the parks. There's already a couple of people, smart people have been meeting at the table month after month after month. I'm not going to come on and uninvent the wheel, but I do. And where I know I'm as mayor, I'll be already committed to the Kalaka'i project, to the project in Hilo, and get homelessness is 3 issues. It's the guys that have a lot of problems. We need to bring state in. There are people that we can do transition and get them to the next step, get them the next step affordable. But I would, as mayor, I don't want to promise them I can't deliver. I think the projects that are out there, I have support because they're already past the no choice line.
Okay. Do you feel that it's important for the mayor to promote and support capital improvement projects on our island? And if so, what 2 top projects would you support for funding, planning, design, and construction?
Well, as you know, on the meetings, I believe in communities. I will, as your mayor, come to community meetings and find out where their main emphasis in. The big project, I almost look at the capital improvement things in this after getting through the virus. Every project on the county is a line item. It's just whether it's funded or not. In your area, I know people have talked about a bypass road, comes in the state and issues. And as we know, if we have state, federal, and county project, it takes 10 to 12 years. So how can I prioritize my capital improvement budget? And I might be stuck with the environmental issues that we have. And I think that's what's going to trump capital improvements, is where we're going to get fined from capital improvement. One is going to be the wastewater in Kona, 20 years of sewer water going into a pit. And that's a high priority for me to make sure that gets done with federal funding. You can't go 20 something years with sewer water going right into our ocean. Okay, good.
What's your position on 30-meter telescope? Support?
30-meter.
Don't support?
All about astronomy, all about sport. But what it has done, Lee, 12 years ago, I remember the meetings, nobody showed up. And all of a sudden they start construction, and now it's a big issue. It's very touchy. And as mayor, I don't support using our limited county property tax and no TAT to help out the state with the mess that they put us in up there. And I love Mauna Kea. I love that mountain. I've skied up there. I've hunted up there. But I know, looking at this generation, it's not protesting up there isn't about rebels and things that we're seeing across the country. We're seeing.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. I'm going to ask you one more question, one final question here, if you don't mind. It's what one thing about Hawaii County government today inspires or motivates you to want to become our mayor in such difficult times?
The people in my leadership. Like I said earlier, I'd be disappointed in myself. I know that I communicate well with people at the top. I know I can go take the worker that's digging the shovel and shake his hands and get things done. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great facilitator, and I've been a successful coach, and I bring my coaching mentality level to the county. I've got experience. I've been in there. You're not going to see wait and see and try to get things done. I know how to get it done the first day in office. And you'll see an A team that will get projects done 2 to 6 months after community meetings, a B team that I will tell you I can get done in my administration, and a C team that I'll leave it better for the next administration to move forward. And I have a plan in all areas of what this government needs. And I, just like you guys, I'm doing it because I see great communities do great things, and I want to be part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. We appreciate you spending time with us this evening. I know time was short. We got through as many questions as we could, but we appreciate you being online with us and sharing out with the community. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. It's what you guys do to make the island special.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Bob.
it.
Aloha,
Thank you,
Bob.
Nancy. Good to see you. Tell your hubby hi.
Will do.
Next up, during this transition period, as we transition to different candidates, I would like to welcome Sandy Ma, the Executive Director of Common Cause, to present some information about the 2020 voting process. Thank you, Ms. Ma.
Thank you for having Common Cause on this mayoral forum candidates for candidates. So I'm very happy to talk about the transition to vote by mail. So for all of you who are not aware, we are 100% voting by mail in Hawaii. This is the first year that all registered voters will be receiving the ballot package in the mail. So make sure that your address is correct. You could go online to check your voter registration address. It's olvr.hawaii.gov, olvr.hawaii.gov. If you're not comfortable with technology, I know I'm not. So you could also call your clerk's office and double check your address with them in order to receive your ballot in the mail. You have to be a registered voter to receive the ballot in the mail. If you are already a registered voter, you do not have to register to vote again. If you are not a registered voter, you have to register to vote. And you have to register to vote by July 9th in order to receive the ballot package in the mail for the primary election. The primary election is August 8th. So please make sure that your address is correct by July 9th and register to vote by July 9th if you're not registered to vote already, in order to receive the ballots in the mail for the August 8th primary election. So like I said, if you're already a registered voter and you've been a registered voter for a long time, I've been a registered voter since I turned 18, so I don't need to re-register to vote. Thank you, James, for putting that information up there. So if you are already a registered voter, you do not need to re-register to vote again in order to receive the ballot package in the mail. But you could certainly confirm your address. I know I've moved several times and I went online to confirm my voter registration address. Or you could call your clerk's office to confirm your registration address. So ballot packages will be mailed to all registered voters by July 21st. So you should receive a whole package of information about how to vote by mail. You should receive instructions, the ballot itself, the secrecy envelope, and a return envelope. The return envelope is postage prepaid, so you don't have to worry about getting enough postage. I know most of us are probably paying our bills online. We don't want to have to go to the post office in this time of COVID. So the postage is already prepaid on our ballot package, and so we could just mail it back. Not quite sure how much time I have left to talk about this process, but Another reason to check your voter registration address is also because the ballots cannot be forwarded. So if you moved recently and you put in a change of address, your ballot cannot be forwarded to your new address. And so that's really important thing to note. So please go make sure that the clerk's office has your correct address to mail your ballot package to. So again, I'm going to keep on repeating this information, and it's up online, olvr.hawaii.gov, or call the clerk's office in Hawaii County to make sure your address is correct to receive the ballot. And you should do this by July 9th in order to get your primary elections. So thank you so much, and I will be back. Kind of like your, in-between candidate entertainment on voting.
Thank you, Sandy. Really appreciate that. So Sandy will be joining us throughout the night to give us a couple of updates about the vote by mail, the voting process for 2020, and the changes that you should expect. And so we'll pop up every now and then and kind of include this as we transition between candidates. Take a few minutes. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Mike Ruggles to join us on the call here as our next candidate for the evening. Welcome, Mr. Ruggles. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Ruggles, this is your initiation for 2 minutes for your self-introduction. So the time is yours here now for 2 minutes, and I'll ring a bell at the end of 2 minutes. Thank you, sir.
All right. Hey, appreciate it. Hey, aloha, Waimea. My name is Mike Ruggles. I'll give you a quick bio. I'm a cement mason, farmer, and father of 4, and I love the Big Island. I've lived here for 45 years, and I remain a critical thinker capable of change and adapting. And I want to give back. And so that's why I started. I'm also a medical cannabis advocate who recently went with the help and support of the community, represented myself in court, and was found not guilty. In that case, I took on the county prosecutor's office led by Mitch Roth, and I won. Needless to say, I don't shy away from confrontation, and I'm not afraid to do what is right, no matter the cost. I grew up boxing, and I have a track record of being a principled underdog, and in this mayoral race, I am no different. I come from 3 generations of police officers, and I see the problems in our criminal justice system, particularly in how police officers operate. They have devolved to policing for profit under poor administration and bad policies. We need to eliminate asset forfeiture and matching funds and restore trust by increasing transparency and accountability and making the government work for us. I believe my upbringing and experiences will help me fix some of the serious problems Hawaii faces, whether it's food, housing, job insecurity, inadequate public transportation, drug addiction, or domestic violence. I want to find the best way to take care of the people of Hawaii. As a small business owner, I support a strong, vibrant economy and the people who work tirelessly to make our economy thrive. And they need the county's support right now. And I want to say I'm here to support you, and I'm listening. I also want to bring up that now's the best time for change, and some of this change we can't avoid. Tourism is gone, and there's only one thing that can replace it right now.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggles. I appreciate that introduction.
Thank you.
We'll now welcome our WCA Treasurer, Louis Dubois, to present you with a couple of questions over the next 12 minutes. Please remember that try to keep your questions concise so we can try and get to as many questions as possible. We appreciate you spending the time with us, and your time for 12 minutes will begin here shortly. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, James. And thank you for your time, Mr. Ruggles. Let's get into it. So you mentioned rebuilding the economy for the people of Hawaii. And so in light of the recent impacts of COVID-19, how do you plan on moving Hawaii County towards a more resilient and diversified economy? And if you could provide at least 2 specific examples of what you could do in your capacity as mayor.
Okay. Well, I believe and I've thought this for years, and so I believe that we have a great opportunity now to move towards small business. And what we really have to do is make the Big Island small business friendly, which we are not right now. one of the, I believe, one of the bad points that's stopping not only business but economy is the handyman law. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the handyman law, but if you look it up, it makes it impossible to be a handyman. And so we need to fix that. And we also need to fix agriculture. Now, I believe the recent speed bump in Hawaii agriculture has been the rat lung. And so we got to get people feeling safe about eating, you know, big agriculture. And so we need to do a rat lung task force so that we can talk to the people that have been dealing with it most, find out what they're doing to deal with it, and get people safe with rat lung. And so I'm also going to certainly seek state and federal dollars. I believe because of this depression that we're going into, that they're going to want to give us money. I believe the feds and the state will give us money, and that's going to help with programs and initiating stuff to repair our economy. I do believe that we also need county farms. They have a place on Oahu, Kahuki Village, I think it is. Anyway, I was very impressed with the way they set it up. They're getting people homeless off the street, and they're paying them to work the farm and teaching them how to do construction. And so I would love to be able to do that too.
Great, thank you. For the next question, I'm going to go into the budget. How do you plan on balancing the county budget with the foreseen reduction in revenue predicted due to COVID-19?
All right. The budget was just passed. I looked at it. It's a little confusing, but I saw that all county workers are keeping their jobs, but that the revenue that we get from transit accommodations, GE, utility, franchise taxes are going to be short this year. So there's going to be a lot of cutbacks. They're cutting $2 million off of solid waste, $20 million off of post-employment benefits, and $16.5 million off the capital project fund. There's also a hiring freeze, but they're proposing a 3.5% tax increase on second homes over $2 million. They seem to think that'll bring in about $14 million. My opinion is they should bump that up to 1%. And another thing we need to do is streamline our government. And so we need to audit all departments, starting with the ones that haven't been audited in the last 5 years. And one other thing we can do is start on the registration fees. We need to start adding abandoned vehicle fees so that the county won't have to pay millions to get these cars up.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned streamlining some of the departments. So obviously, as you become, if you are elected mayor, you're going to be tasked with appointing several officials, possibly 60 to 65 different employees. So how do you plan on making those selections, and what is your process that you would use to select key staff members?
Well, I already have quite a few people on board, and we would certainly go out and look for the best and brightest to see who wants to help. And no, it's going to be a big project, and I'm certain I will make mistakes. But one thing I can promise you is that I won't hide my mistakes, and I'll do my best to fix them. And that's the one thing I believe I can bring over the other candidates, which is transparency. I believe we really need it. And in order for our government to work efficiently, you have to be transparent. And there's many reasons not to be transparent, but none of them are good ones. Or like I like to say, whenever you're watching five-year-olds in their room and they shut the door, it's never a good reason. And so whenever our current government, they like to say things like, hey, we don't know if it's working. Maybe it is. my point is that if you don't know if it's working, it's not working. So transparency is the #1 thing that we need to bring.
Okay, great. For the next question, I'm going to move into the 30-meter telescope. What's your position on the 30-meter telescope and why?
Okay. Well, my position is I love astronomy. I took it in college, and I still love it. But I wouldn't spend $15 million to monitor peaceful protesters while they're standing on the mountain. It was an unnecessary waste of time and money. $15 million could have gone a long way towards feeding and housing our citizens and reviving some of our small businesses. One of my opponents, Mitch Roth, on the other hand, has strong ties to the TMT, not only through his son's jet propulsion lab, but his wife's employers. And he's also on the board of a group which received a grant from the TMT's Think Fund of over $1 million. Prosecutor Roth told the Board of Ethics that he was confident there would be no conflict of interest if he prosecuted protesters arrested on Mauna Kea. He only met with the Board of Ethics after the Associated Press questioned him on his TMT connections. And I'm here to tell you I have no TMT connections, and that my stance is with the people. And I believe it's up to them to decide whether or not they want a telescope on their mountain, and it seems like they've decided that they don't. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you. You brought up using funds to provide housing and assistance to people who are experiencing homelessness. So as the unemployment rate increases, do you have any specific strategies that you will use to address homelessness and the lack of affordable housing on the island?
Yes, I love my, and it's not my idea, it's the Kahuku, I can't pronounce it correctly, Kahuku Village in Honolulu. And it's a great idea, and I think a great opportunity, not only for to help the economy, but to help all the homeless. And in my opinion, you know, a lot of our, you'll probably ask me this on something else, but I believe a lot of the people in our criminal justice system right now don't deserve to be there. Okay, with people with drug addiction problems, in my opinion, that's a mental health issue. And these people would be better helped on a community farm. And if you're going to have them on a farm doing work, you got to pay them. And it's the same with the homeless. So in my opinion, whether you're a non-victim criminal or you're homeless, my farm can help. And it's not only going to help them, it's going to help the community, because these guys are going to get paid. So the next time you see them, they're going to have money in their pockets, and you're going to want to see them.
Okay, thank you. How important do you feel it is for the mayor to promote and support capital improvement projects for our island? And if you do feel it is important, what are some of the top projects that you would provide funding for planning, design, and construction?
Okay, well, obviously my farm, or I shouldn't say my farm, Kahukiki Village would be my top priority. But then after that, you know, we're looking towards 100% self-sufficiency. So in my opinion, we have small business opportunity in every shipment of stuff that comes here. The stuff that's in those shipments could be a small business here, and should be. Plus, we shouldn't be getting 90% of our food from those containers. We need to be getting 90% of our food from our backyards and from agriculture. And so these are the things that we can certainly fix if I'm elected.
Okay. On the topic of energy, how would you help Hawaii County become energy self-reliant and reduce our dependence on fossil fuels?
Okay, let's see, there's 3 current solar projects all under negotiation. I believe one's in Waimea. We also have the biomass incinerator, but apparently there's problems with that. It's burned kind of dirty. You got PGV. There's a lot of residents down in Kupuna that are concerned with PGV and what kind of impact it's going to have on their health and safety of the people. And so there's enough people concerned that I believe we should do an investigation, see if PGV is actually safe, and if it is, we'll use it. If it's not, we won't. But we need to find out, and we obviously have to get away from big oil, and we haven't been doing a very good job. And I believe now is a very important time, and it's a great time for change. And if you were to elect me, we would certainly do a better job at getting away from depending on oil, getting away from depending on tourism, and helping small businesses.
All right, we have 1 minute left, so I just have one last question for you. What is one thing about Hawaii County government today that inspires or motivates you to want to become our mayor in these difficult times?
Okay, well, it was the fact that we need to fix the criminal system. To me, this recent incident with George Floyd underscores that it's time to fix the criminal system. And over here on the Big Island, we like to shove 5 people to a cell, and I don't believe that's helping. When you shove 5 mentally ill people into one cell, and then when you let them out later, you think they're going to be better citizens, it's not going to happen. So we certainly need to fix that. And one of the things COVID did is it fixed it. And so we can't never go back to people like that. So let's fix that. And hey, everybody, thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggles. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we appreciate, you as our candidate, Mr. Fitzgerald, for diving into this right away. You're our first candidates for this forum series, so thank you for joining us here. And we appreciate your time. Aloha, Mike. Thank you.
I appreciate it, you guys, all you young guns in Waimea. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggles.
Great job. Aloha.
Aloha. At this time, I'd like to welcome back Sandy Ma to the floor to discuss a little bit more about our vote by mail system and our process for 2020.
Hi, thanks for talking about voting by mail. As we last discussed, if you are a registered voter, you do not have to register again to vote by mail. If you are not a registered voter, please register by July 9th to receive your ballot package for the primary elections. If you want to vote in person or you missed the July 9th deadline, you can always go to a voter service center. On the Big Island, Hawaii County, there are 2 voter service centers. They will be open 10 days prior to the elections. They will be open 10 days prior to the August 8th primary, and they will be open 10 days prior to the November 3rd general elections. So the 2 voter service centers are located in Hilo and in Kailua Kona. So the Hilo one is at the Hawaii County Aupuni Center in the conference room, and the Kailua Kona one is the West Hawaii Civic Center Community Room, Building G. And James has kindly put up the graphic with the locations of the Hawaii County 2 voter service centers. Now the voter service centers, like I said, are open 10 days before election days, and they allow a person to vote in person if that's what you choose to do. And if you are not a registered voter, you could also same day register to vote. If you have questions about the ballot, you could also go and ask and complete your ballot there and deposit the ballot. If you have special needs, they could accommodate voters with disabilities. If you don't have a mailbox or a permanent address, you could also go vote in person at a voter service center. So don't think that you must register, be a registered voter in advance. Hawaii has same-day voter registration, meaning that you can register and vote at the same time. So, so please don't feel like if you miss the July 9th voter registration deadline to vote in the primary elections, then you can't vote. You could vote. Go to a voter service center. We have 2 open in Hawaii County, so please go there and vote. They're open 10 days before the election days, and the hours they're open are also on there, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and then on election day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you are voting by mail and you want to vote with your ballot that's been mailed to you, please know that the ballot must be received by the clerk's office by 7 p.m. on election day, and postmarks do not count. So that means you can't wait until election day, primary day on August 8th, and then say, I'm gonna go to my post office and drop it off. That won't work. That won't be received by the clerk's office. So don't delay. Vote as soon as you get your ballot, and then drop it off at the voter service, then drop it off at your mailbox. Otherwise, you have to go to the voter service center or Dropbox. So I'll talk to you later about the process.
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate you joining us. So once again, Sandy Ma is the Executive Director of Common Cause Hawaii, and she'll be joining us again later tonight to talk again about this process and the big changes we have for voting in 2020. Next up, I would like to welcome Neil Azevedo, our next candidate here. And once Neil gets the signal, there he is. I think he's ready to go. Welcome, Mr. Azevedo. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Well, you now have 2 minutes to give your self-introduction, and I'll start your time now. Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Neil Azevedo, candidate for Hawaii County Mayor. I'm the youngest of 11 children. I have 5 kids and a wife, and I coach football, numerous sports, and I've worked construction 30 plus years. I've been in the government for 5 years as Highway Division Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azevedo. You still have a little minute if you'd like to say anything else.
I'm just excited for the opportunity it's given me tonight.
Wonderful.
You know.
Appreciate you being here. And we will move into our question and answer session. So I'd like to welcome our board member, Nancy Carr-Smith, to the floor again to ask Mr. Azevedo a couple questions for the next 12 minutes. Thank you, Nancy.
Hello, Neil. May I call you Neil?
Yes.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you, Neil. So I'm going to start off with a question regarding the administration. If elected mayor, you'll be tasked with appointing department heads, deputies, some staff, and council, totaling maybe 60 or 65 people. How do you plan to make these selections, and what will you look for when selecting these key individuals?
We'll select the key individuals as the directors. You know, we'll go through interviews, select we'll get a group of guys with us, you know, from each community on the panel, and we'll interview all them and go through and pick the guy best for the job, the person best for the job with the heart of ours, with passion and care of the communities.
Do you plan to diversify representation for the entire island?
Yes, the whole island, northwest, east, south.
Okay, good. Moving on to the economy, in light of recent economic impacts of COVID-19, how would you move Hawaii County toward a more diversified economy?
Right now, COVID-19, really agriculture would be #1 to us. agriculture, we need to promote that. And we'd have to partner up with the farmers to get a lot of smart farmers out there we can work with, can make us better and make the rest of the people be able to farm. You know, they'll show their knowledge about farming. You know, then we can go out and we can put it out, we can promote our fruits and vegetables out to the rest of the state. We got so much land here, you know, our farmers would be great.
Okay. Moving on to the budget, how would you balance the county budget with the reduction of revenue that we're seeing as a result of COVID-19?
For the budget wise, we'll look what we get total for the budget of the upcoming year. We'll work with our finance team and we'll spend wisely. You know, spend wisely, we'll keep government simple. And we're gonna work hard, get the job done by working hard. You know, keeping everything simple.
Okay. Regarding energy, how will you help the county become energy self-reliant and reduce our dependence on fossil fuel?
Well, right now we'll partner up with all our private sectors out there. We'll learn, you know, how we learn about solar, learn about renewable energy, learn about all these other things we got out there. You know, there's a lot of education went throughout the whole government. From there, we just gotta put it together and keep it simple by just doing the job, getting it done.
Okay. Regarding agriculture and food security, agriculture can be an important driver to help diversify the economy, as you said, and improve self-reliance in the county. If elected mayor, what is your vision for agriculture? And if you could maybe speak to a specific strategy.
Well, a vision for agriculture for this island. Agriculture should be number one. Why? Because we got a lot of land, we got different climates, grow various different produce throughout this whole island. And we got the people capable of doing it. You know, let's partner up with the state and other government agencies, with the farmers. You know, let's partner up and just make things work. You know, if we be more sustainable on this island, pricing will come down. Everything will be cheaper for us to live.
Okay. Regarding homelessness and affordable housing, they were both serious issues before COVID-19, but many people fear that it'll be worse after this because of the high unemployment rate. Could you share a couple of specific strategies that you will pursue to address homelessness, houselessness, and the lack of affordable housing?
Okay, let's go to the lack of affordable housing. We'll partner up with the federal government and the state government. Hawaii County and the state government got a lot of property on this island. You know, from there we look at the district plans. They got enough plans for affordable homes. So from there we partner up with the private industry and we'll build, you know, so instead of people driving from Ocean View to Waikoloa, let's look at affordable housing in Kona. Let's build that. You know, partnering up with private sectors and government agencies and become one for the people. For homelessness, you know, from there we partner up again with the nonprofits, with the faith-based organizations. You know, we build something. We build a nice building, you know, affordable homes where we can teach them how to garden, how to do stuff to get back them on their feet, get them the help they need. You know, there's different issues with the homelessness. You know, once they were great people, and they're still great people, they just got to be guided in the right direction. You know, from there we can do that. How? By showing them our heart, our passion we got for them, for everyone throughout the whole island.
Thank you for that. Moving on to planning. Do you feel it's important for the mayor to promote and support capital improvement projects on our island? And if so, what are 2 top projects that you would provide funding for planning, design, and construction?
Well, for CIP projects, we got a lot on the list already. You know, let's go back and go to the list and we just get it done now. find the money for the projects already went through the process already. Like Anike, all those roads, let's go out there and let's just put it out. Let's just get it done. Why? How? Keep it simple. Spend wisely and get the job done by working hard. There's the three main things we'll do. And we'll partner up with private sectors and see how we can get the prices as low as possible so we can do the roads, can do the projects as soon as we can.
Okay. Moving on to the 30-meter telescope. Can you share with us what your position is and why?
Okay, TMT, that's a real touchy one, but TMT is a state issue, okay? However, as a native Hawaiian, if elected mayor, my role is for the safety of all people on the Mauna, all people. And we hear their voices. We let them share their voices on the Mauna. Let them, just want to hear them and feel them for that,
Okay. Emergency response. Hawaii County is susceptible to many environmental disasters, not limited to hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, and volcanic activity. We now face the challenge of COVID-19. If elected, how would you address emergency preparedness and disaster resilience throughout our communities?
From there, we'll partner up with the state and private sectors. We'll build the teams where if anything comes our way, we'll be ready and willing. The whole thing is we go back to agriculture, food, agriculture, we need that. All that's going to help us with this emergency. Building our team in response. We're going to be quick and very responsive on our response.
Okay. This is a long question regarding invasive species. Invasive species have severely impacted and even eliminated native ecosystems across Hawaii. This has cost the government and individuals millions of dollars, and in some cases placed the lives of humans, farm animals, and native flora and fauna at risk. Quick emergency response is needed to eradicate diseases like dengue, rat lungworm, rapidohia death, and pests like fire ants, coqui frogs, two-lined spittlebug, coffee borer beetles, as well as potential future invasive species and diseases. What solutions do you support and why?
For invasive species, we need to, before it comes to our island or any state in our state, we need to make sure we get inspections. Through inspections, going right through everything, not bypassing nothing. Making sure at each port we got inspections.
Okay. What about solid waste and recycling? Recycling has almost come to a standstill in Hawaii County. What do you plan to do about recycling and the landfill challenge regarding our finite capacity?
Well, for recycling, everybody needs to recycle for being environment friendly. We need that. There's no way of stopping recycling. We need to pick it up more. How? By partnering up with private sectors again. Not only government, but we need to partner up with private sectors to get this going stronger. For rubbish now, we can go into renewable energy, can go into other different things. We did a lot of research in everything already. So from there, government did a lot of research. From there, we partner up with private sectors and we learn. We learn what is the fastest, the best way for the environment to take care of the rubbish. you know, and the recycling. You know, everything is recyclable.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree that vacation rentals should be regulated?
Yes, I do. Yes, I agree with that. Why? It's fair to all, especially hotel businesses. It's fair.
Okay. One last question here. What are your plans and priorities to enhance the quality of life for our kupuna?
Continue showing the love and spirit over there. You know, continue doing what we need to do to respect them, help them, give them the transportation. You know, just taking care of them. Because like I always say, our parents take care of us when we're small. It's our turn now. Don't just talk about it, let's just do it. Just get it done.
Okay. Our last question for you is regarding yourself. If you could share one specific thing, such as a project or a service that you've helped start or dedicated a lot of time to, that you think demonstrates why residents would vote for you as mayor.
Why people on Hawaii County would vote for me as mayor of Hawaii County? I'll give you guys our work. We will work hard. We'll give our passion. We will always, from our heart, give our heart out to everyone. Not just talk about it. We'll do it. You know, from the lava to Hurricane Lane, to Isel. Even when I was a private sector, I care about everyone. Build a strong foundation, build it. Why? It's from the heart. It's not talking about let's do it together as one. Trust everyone, believe in everyone, hear everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Azevedo. That's time for your question and answer. Appreciate you joining us this evening and spending some time with us to share with the community. Appreciate you being here. All the best to you. Aloha, Neil. Thank you.
Aloha, thank you.
As we transition to the next candidate here, I will not be moving over to Sandy Bob, but I just wanted to update those that have joined us later on in this live stream this evening. We have 3 more candidates this evening, and not in order of appearance, but in alphabetical order. They will be Wendell Ka'aiuea, Yumi Kawano, and Mitch Roth. So that's what we have on the second half of the evening tonight. And once again, all candidates will be giving a 2-minute self-introduction, and then they will move into a 12-minute question and answer session. These questions have been generated and submitted by the community, by yourselves. And so we're grateful for you taking the time to send in questions and talk about these issues and talk about and ask of these candidates the most important issues that you'd like to know in making a better informed decision when you fill out your vote by mail ballot upcoming later this in July, that is. Once again, we apologize that if your specific question was not answered, but we do encourage you to, if that's the case, we do encourage you to reach out directly to the candidate themselves or to their particular staff in office. A lot of the questions that we chose, we had about nearly 100 candidates that, 100 questions that came in that were submitted, and we tried to do our best to consolidate them and put them together in topics, broad topics, wide range of topics. And yes, so we once again appreciate everyone submitting questions and sending them in. At this point, I would like to welcome Mr. Mitch Roth to the floor. He has joined us now. And Mr. Roth, thank you for joining us. Aloha.
Aloha.
Your 2 minutes on your self-introduction will begin right now. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you. Aloha, I'm Mitch Roth. I'm your current elected county prosecutor for the last 8 years. My wife, Noriko, and I, we've raised 3 children here on this island. They all went to school here, went away to college, and now are successfully living on the mainland. I love this island, and I love its people, and that's why I'm running for mayor. Over my career as a prosecutor, and during this campaign, I've had the opportunity to ask people what it is that they want to see in government, and really what you want to see is what I want to see, whether you're from Waimea, Ka'u, North Carolina, any place in this island, we all want to see affordable housing. We want to see well-paying jobs. We want an infrastructure, whether it be roads that are up to par, but most importantly, we want an effective and efficient government. There's three things that differentiate me from the other candidates. The first is that I'm a department head, and I actually work in the county. I've seen some of the problems, seen some of the issues. I know how to deal with employees. I have one of the hardest working staffs on the island, but it also shows me some of the things that maybe things that will snag people up, things like procurement contracts, dealing with civil service. If you don't know how to deal with these, the county could get sued and could cost you as taxpayers a lot of money. That's the second thing that I have an advantage of. I'm the only attorney in this race, so I know how to read the laws, understand the laws, and interpret the laws. And that's really important right now because some of the ways our laws are being interpreted are preventing our business community from thriving. And finally, and most importantly, I'm an innovative, out-of-the-box problem solver who's proven to have been able to do things that people said couldn't be done. Things like trying cold cases, starting the weed and seed site in Pahoa. That became a national project that sent me around the nation teaching problem solving, or starting our restorative justice program in the prosecutor's office, the very first in the nation that is now being copied by other agencies from around the United States. You know, we all want a better future with COVID. Things in the future are going to be different. We're going to need a leader that has the ability to solve problems and make things happen. And I believe that I am that person. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. And now welcome one of our board members, Louis Dubois, who will be presenting with a couple of questions over the next 12 minutes. So as mentioned, please be concise as we can try and address as many of these topics as possible. And we appreciate you answering these community questions. Thank you, sir. Louis, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, James. Aloha, Mr. Roth. Thank you for your time today, and let's get into the questions. Our first question for you is that if you're elected as mayor, you're going to be tasked with appointing different department heads, deputies, some staff and council totaling about 60 to 65 people. How do you plan on making these selections, and what are you going to look for when selecting key staff members for these county programs and services?
Throughout my career, I've been a collaborator, and so I will collaborate with various people from the community, whether they supported me or not. There's a lot of people that have a lot of really good opinions. I will be talking to them. We'll do interviews to make sure that we have the right kind of people that are going to make government work for the community rather than be an obstacle in the community.
And as a follow-up question, how would you would you be looking to diversify your appointments throughout the island of Hawaii? And how would you?
Absolutely. This is a big island, and it deserves to have people from around the island as its division directors and its deputies. As a matter of fact, right now in the prosecutor's office, my first deputy is from Kona, and for a while she was the only other division director in this county that is from someplace other, well, someplace on the west side of the island. I think the Big Island deserves to have leadership from around the island and make sure that we're also working in both places. The Civic Center in West Hawaii and in Hilo, we should be there regularly. The department head should be there regularly, and it should be looking at the needs of the entire island.
Great, thank you. In light of the recent economic impacts of COVID-19, how would you move Hawaii County towards a more resilient and diversified economy? And if you could please provide any specific examples that you would be able to provide in your capacity as mayor.
Moving forward, we first have to understand the issue. Who has been unemployed? So we want to get people back to work. Most of those people are in the tourism industry. Tourism will come back with government assistance. And so we need to be sure that we're helping that industry succeed. There's a great demand, so we want to make sure that they're able to come back and succeed. We also have shovel-ready CIP jobs that are ready. We need to get our construction industry back in business. We need to work with our business community as well. Find out from our business community what things that government is doing well, not doing well, how they can help, and in certain cases, get out of the way so that businesses can thrive and bring jobs back and get people back on their feet. We also need to look at the same time, diversifying our economy, whether that be through agriculture, science and technology, or renewable energies. All of these things are ways of bringing jobs, getting our economy going, and bringing us back to the table. The other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we have a cadre of grant writers that are able to help all of the departments bring funds in. Funds don't just come, you have to work on them. As a prosecutor, I have experience bringing in millions of dollars of funds through grant writing. However, that was through people in our own agency. We need to make sure that the county has people that are able to bring in for all of the departments.
Great, thank you. You mentioned energy as a way of diversifying our economy. How would you help Hawaii County become an energy self-reliant economy and reduce our dependence on fossil fuels?
So realize this, Hawaii County has probably the best renewable energy opportunities of any place in the world, whether it be solar, wind, geothermal, or other things that are out there. We have those opportunities. Those opportunities look to jobs. You know, one of the problems that we have put on us is our island and our state, and particularly our island, has been viewed as anti-business. We need to make sure that government is out of the way so these agencies can help come in, make sure that we're using renewable energies, make sure that we're looking out for our environment and for our future.
Okay. You also mentioned using agriculture as a way of making a more robust economy. If you're elected mayor, what's your vision for agriculture on this island, and what specific strategies do you have?
You know, the Big Island is the breadbasket of the state, and we have more land and more opportunities for agriculture than any place in the rest of the state. As a prosecutor, I've actually been working with farmers. We started an agricultural investigator program to protect our farmers, to help them with food security. But as mayor, making sure that we're also providing opportunities for the farmers. There's a lot of people that have land and not using it. There's a lot of people that are farmers that don't have land to use. Government can help them in maybe pairing up, making sure that they're able to do these things. I talked about grant writers. There's a lot of money from the Department of Agriculture in grant monies. Government should be there to help people succeed rather than acting as an obstacle. So possibly using some of our grant writers to help some of these people writing grants, obtaining money, and moving forward.
Great, thank you. Moving into the topic of our budget, we're expected to see a drop in revenue due to COVID-19. How would you balance the county budget with this projected drop in revenue?
You know, one of the things that we need to do in government is we need to do a better job of sitting down with all of the departments, not just the department heads, but going into the departments and meeting with the people that are doing the jobs. I was talking to someone who was working in an apartment, and they said that they've never had the mayor or the managing director come and talk to them. You know, in problem solving, we've realized that you can go to the top and get part of the answer, but if you go to everybody else and talk to them about what's going on, you can learn a lot. Over the last couple of years, I've invited in our council because they really didn't understand, in my view, what was going on with the budget. They got one side of the story, we got one side of the story. If you don't understand why people are working overtime, who's working overtime, what things that can be cut, it's really difficult to make a balanced budget. So I think that's going to be a really important thing, whoever is mayor, that they need to go sit down, talk to everybody, find out where you can cut, where you're doing well, and you know what are the things that are available, such as looking for grants and things like that. And that's going to take a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach, because grants, sometimes they're there, like our CARES money, but a lot of times you have to go out and you have to actively seek those, and you need people who know how to do that.
on the topic of capital improvement projects on our island, how important do you feel it is for the mayor to promote those capital improvement projects, and what are some specific projects that you have in mind?
It's very important. Capital improvement projects mean you're putting our construction people, our construction industry to work. And that really is important to make sure that our economy is going. So there's a lot of things that we need to work on. I'll take two. The landfill is one of them. We're hauling rubbish over to the other side. We need to look at other alternatives, and I can talk about those if we want to follow up with that. The other thing is we've got some roads in Kona that have been on the books for a while. We also have a Kealakea wastewater treatment plant that may get us sued in the next couple of years. We just had a lawsuit on Maui that deals with their wastewater treatment, and ours is kind of in a similar situation. So that may be something that we are forced to do quickly so we don't end up getting sued in the future.
Okay, I'd like to follow up on your what you're talking about, the solid waste management, and what ideas you have for that.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of things that have been talked about. Waste to energy is one. They have anaerobic digesters is another one. Shipping stuff over to Honolulu's waste energy. I think we need to really look at all of these different opportunities, because they are opportunities for us, and maybe not look at things in the same lens that we did in the past, where it's one thing or the other. Maybe we're looking short term at another site while we're looking into recycling, sorting and recycling, and maybe sending those things to different things. But we have opportunities that we haven't looked at yet. And one of the things I plan on doing in the first 100 days is having a sustainability summit where we're actually talking about these kinds of things, as well as our environment.
Okay, thank you. What is your position on the 30-meter telescope, and why?
So I support the 30-meter telescope. 30-meter telescope provides us with jobs. It has helped it will help our economy. It keeps our kids here. One of our biggest export right now is our children. And if we're going to keep on doing that, that's a problem. I understand also that there's a lot of mistrust in government that's well deserved. And we need to be more transparent, working with people and moving forward. But I believe that the 30-meter telescope will provide jobs. It will provide a future for our children to stay here, and it will help in so many different ways. Plus, I support astronomy as well.
Okay. For affordable housing and homelessness, they were serious issues that we were concerned about before COVID-19, but with high unemployment, it seems like it's going to be an even bigger problem in the future. So could you share some specific strategies that you have to pursue addressing homelessness and lack of affordable housing?
So homelessness, we have some good plans that are in place for Housing First. That is a national recommendation. You house people first. However, we've been slow, and actually it seems that we've been our own worst enemy as the government. As far as affordable housing, I'm going to get into some of these things. With homelessness, you have to have homelessness, maybe a one-stop shop where they can get treatment and other things. With affordable housing, there's two different issues. One, if you're talking about the Section 8 and buildings of affordable housing units, government needs to do a better job of working together and helping people build those things. As far as regular houses, one of the things we need to really do is fix our permitting system. It's a mess. It's a long, arduous process. People are going in there, they're submitting plans, they're being told to do things.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. We have one more question for you, Lewis, if you don't mind asking the last question for Mr. Roth, please. Got you on mute.
You're mute.
There we are. Okay, there we are. Mr. Roth, if you could please share one specific thing that you've worked on and dedicated a lot of your time and effort to that you think demonstrates why you are qualified to be mayor. Could you please share that with us?
Sure. You know, like I said earlier, I'm a problem solver, and I've thought outside the box and been able to come up with actually several different initiatives that have helped this island. We talked about Weed and Seed. VASH is the Visit Aloha Society, Citizens Emergency Response Team. Those are things I've helped to start. But I'll go back to the restorative justice, especially looking at what's happening around the country and making changes in justice. Our restorative justice program has been a real success in that we've had very low recidivism, the rate in which people reoffend. And that's really important when you look at sending kids to like HYCF, or Hawaii Youth Correction Facility, at $200,000 a year per kid, and a success rate of 25%. Our restorative justice has been at 95%, and our juvenile crime on this island has been reduced by about 50% over the last 8 years. And so it's working together with people to make things happen around the island that really makes the difference. And those are the things I really think differentiate me from other candidates in this race.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. Appreciate your time and joining us this evening. All the best to you. Aloha. Thank you.
Aloha. Thank you. Aloha.
Next, I'd like to welcome Sandy Moff. She's available back to the floor. She'll talk about our voting process for 2020 again. Once again, Sandy Ma is the Executive Director of Common Cause Hawaii, and she'll give us a few more updates and repeat some more information if you've missed the first part about the 2020 process here for voting. Thank you, Sandy.
Hi, everyone. So we are voting by mail in 2020. This is the first election where every registered voter in Hawaii will be receiving a ballot package, and this is starting for the primary elections on August 8th. So approximately 18 days before the primary election, everyone will be receiving their ballot package. So you will be receiving a ballot package July 21st. So be on the lookout for your ballot package, July 21st. So if you are not a registered voter, please register to vote in order to receive your ballot package in the mail. Register to vote by July 9th. These are a lot of dates, and I apologize. James will put up some information soon, or you could get it from James at the Waimea Community Association website or Facebook page. So please register to vote if you are not a registered voter by July 9th in order to get your ballot package. If you are a registered voter already, you don't need to re-register to vote. You will get your ballot package in the mail by July 21st or around that time. So once you get the ballot package, it will come with a postage prepaid envelope, so you can mail everything back. It will come with a secrecy envelope, so you can stuff your ballot in the secrecy envelope and the prepaid envelope, and then you can mail everything back. The ballot has to be received by the clerk's office by election day, so don't hold on to the ballot until election day thinking that that will be enough time to drop it in the mail. It won't. It has to be received by election day. If accidentally you did hold on to it by election day, that is still okay. There are voter service centers on Hawaii County. There are 2 voter service centers, one in Kona and one in Hilo, that you could go to drop the ballot package off. There are also drop boxes around the island. There are 7 drop boxes around the island that you could deposit it, the completed package. The voter service centers also allows you to vote in person if that's how you choose to do, to vote in person. Also, if you are not a registered voter and you missed the deadline to register to vote to get the ballot mailed to you, that's okay. You could also vote at a voter service center, and they're open 10 days before election day. Let's see, I think I'll wait until the next time to talk about the signature cards and what those signature verification card means. So I think I'll skip that. So people should have gotten this yellow signature verification card in the mail, and If you haven't turned yours in, it doesn't matter. You still have time. There's not a set deadline to turn in the yellow signature verification card. And we could go over what that's for at my next break when I pop back in to talk about that, because it's kind of important. It matches the signature on your ballot when you return it in. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate all those important details and for you sticking with us to help share this information out with the community. It's a very important year as we switch to vote by mail. So thank you for joining us and participating in this outreach to the community. For our next candidate joining us, we have Miss Yumi Kawano joining us, and she will have, let me turn her on here, unmute her, and we will have her on here for a little while. Once again, candidates will be on here for about 15 minutes. They will start off with a 2-minute self-introduction and then move into a 12-minute Q&A portion that will be presented by one of our board members here. So Ms. Kawano, welcome. Thank you for joining us. The floor is yours, and we will start your 2 minutes for your self-introduction. Thank you.
Mahalo. Good evening. My name is Yumi Kawano, and if you'd like more information about me, here's my website, if you can see it. It's Vote Mary Kawano, and it's yamahilo.wixsite.com/Mayor Okay? Be the change, make the change. A little bit about myself. I'm a mother. I'm an advocate for veterans and the mentally ill. I've been working in the community with the Action Committee for Kupuna District for about 4 years. And I've had such a tremendous time doing community development planning with the planning department and with research and development. I've learned a tremendous amount. And I am a teacher. I came here teaching public schools all over the island. I started in Honokaa and taught in Hilo. And I'm also a biologist by profession. I worked with threatened and endangered birds. And I think I just, I came to this island and I knew that this was where I wanted to be. I think a lot of people feel that way. And I feel very humbled that you'll allow me to speak and to hear what I have to say. And I think the greatest thing I want you to understand that I think we have the most amazing island, and I think we have a mission to restore it and to make it the healthy and the safe, balanced way of life that we'd like to have. And that takes planned, wise use of our lands and resources.
Thank you, Ms. Kawano. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to welcome one of our board members for Waimea Community Association, Nancy Carr-Smith, to present you with a few questions here over the next 12 minutes, Ms. Kawano. So thank you, Nancy. The floor is yours.
Aloha, Miss Yumi. How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you for being with us. I wanted to jump right into questions, starting with the administration. If elected mayor, you'd be tasked with appointing department heads, deputies, staff, and council, totaling 65 people. How do you plan to make those selections, and what will you look for when selecting these key individuals?
I will be looking mostly for good character, public relations, maybe having some experience, and if not, get some training. Of course, experience, but I think one of my biggest concerns is there's no preferential treatment here, that the most qualified people do get the job. And that's going to be very important to me. And one of the most important to me with administrative goals is that in each department, I will have a public relations specialist, and that person will have direct contact with the department head, and there will be at least weekly staff meetings. And that person that does specialist relations for the public will take formal complaints and concerns And there will be a turnaround time, I'd say within 2 weeks at least, and solutions and resolutions. Another goal that I'll have is to find better ways to get the community involved in decision making, which community development planning involves all of us. So I believe it's the county's job to do their best to involve as many people as possible, representing all kinds, because we're a mixed plate here, and I want to make sure that everyone feels represented and everyone feels heard, because that seems to be somewhat of a complaint, is that people don't feel heard.
What about representation throughout the island? Would you select people from all over the island for these key positions?
Yes, I would, and I've lived all over the island. I've taught island-wide. The only place I don't know as well about is Kohala, but I've lived on both sides, west and the north, and worked in the south. And so I feel, especially being a teacher, the schools are basically the hum of the community. A lot of the things that are going on in the community are happening in the schools. So yes, I definitely will. It'll be an island-wide search, and outside the island, it'll be equal and fair.
Would you commit to utilizing the facilities in West Hawaii as well?
Yes, definitely. And I think it's very important that we have all community centers plugged in for all of our people to make testimonies at the county council meetings, which I know here in Volcano we still don't have one yet. And I've spoken to Miley about that, but I don't know what the holdup is. But it's very important that there's representation for everybody, specifically the elderly folks that can't get out, and they can maybe go to a community center and make their testimony, which is a lot more powerful than a written statement at times.
Moving on to the economy, how would you move to diversify the economy?
I would diversify the economy, but first I want to say agriculture is key to this growing island. This island growing an economy is what I mean. Agriculture is, because just a few generations ago, we were a self-sufficient island. Food-wise, we had food security, and now about 85 to 90% of our food is imported, and we need to get back to the way things used to be. And I think that the possibilities has already occurred due to COVID-19. There's a lot more trading, a lot more community building going on, and I'm glad to see it, because in some ways it's somewhat of a hidden blessing, the COVID-19. It's made us realize what's important.
Mm-hmm. COVID-19 has had an effect on the predicted revenue in the county as well. How would you look at balancing the budget?
Being on the Action Committee for Community Development Planning, I was put on a budget committee. One of the challenges I had was not being able to get people to communicate with me about the budgets. There was a lack of communication. Don't know why, but I really would like to have a budget set up for citizen participation. I know we have a great deal of FEMA money that has poured into the state, and I believe that if FEMA, those of us that have been through a disaster here in Puna, losing homes, some of us having earthquake rattling our homes and causing damage, why we're 3 years having to give our receipts to FEMA, I believe the government is due to give receipts too, and to make sure that everything's online, and questions will be asked. And I really believe in this. And we've already started it in the Action Committee for Puna, starting with Kamehameha School. The students are already gathering information how to do this.
What about energy? How do you see helping the county become more energy self-reliant and reducing dependence on fossil fuels?
I believe that we're going in the right direction, but we have a long ways to go. We have to become a sustainable island. We're now forced to look at that even more than ever before due to the increasing frequency of disasters and such. And so I see each community being self-sufficient and self-sustaining in housing, in energy, and in water, in everything, because you have to be self-sufficient in order to be disaster ready. So I'm excited about the prospect of looking at places like Lopez Island, San Juan Islands, where they have a trust fund in Lopez, and I see each town center having something very similar. I think it's exciting. We're at a brink of great changes with the right leadership.
You spoke about emergency readiness. Hawaii County is susceptible to many environmental disasters, not limited to earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and volcanic activity, as you know. We now face the challenge of COVID-19 as well. If elected, how would you address emergency preparedness and disaster resilience throughout our communities?
I think a lot of our communities have already addressed it. I know we have CERT teams, we have CERT training. People in the Upper Puna district have rallied people to be on CERT teams. We have our own fire department chief who's involved in working with the civil defense. I think it's about building a lot of alliances. I think, honestly, a leader sets the precedence. If a leader is open to suggestion, constantly looking at how they can make things better, I think there's a trickling down effect on the administration, and that will be my requirement. So communication is key, and it's going to start way before disasters begin. And so we already know what that feels like, being here in Volcano, whether we should evacuate or not, whether we should stay or not, whether we should get all our records together or not. It was just it's hard to describe what it was like. I just know that we're still in recovery, and I just think that we, as an island, we can recover together and be better than ever.
I think you mentioned that this next question might go along with some of your background. Invasive species. They've severely impacted the native ecosystems across the state. It's cost the government and individuals a lot of money, and in some cases placed lives of humans, farm animals, and native flora and fauna at risk. Quick emergency response is needed to eradicate diseases like dengue, rat lungworm, rapidohea death, and pests like little fire ants, coqui frogs, two-lined spittlebugs, and the coffee borer beetles, as well as anything else that may come in the future. What solutions do you support and why?
Personally, I restore rainforests here on my 2 acres with my family, my ohana, and it is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. It's so proactive. We receive funding from the Natural Resource Conservation Service, which I brought to the Puna Action Committee. It's one of the incentives of restoring rainforests, which means replenishing our water supplies, our aquifers, and on the benefits of keeping our forests. So it's one of the most crucial. I mean, if we're a tourist industry, hello, it's important that we keep the aesthetics of at least just clean water, clean air. I mean, it's the most important thing of all. I feel great hope that we're at a crossroad of we're caring for the earth like never before, because we've slowed down and we're staying home and we're taking care of ourselves and our families more. And I think we have a new norm, a new landscape right now that I hope to build upon.
Last question from me. Could you briefly tell us how you feel about the 30-meter telescope, please?
Okay. The 30-meter telescope, talking to Hawaiian folks, and even my husband, who's Hawaiian, born and raised, son of the Aina here. There's been a lot of broken promises to the Hawaiians. It is a burial site. It is a ceremonial site. It is sacred, and I believe there's at least 13 scopes, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we should be upgrading and repairing the existing scopes, and perhaps decommissioning the scopes that are no longer working, and cleaning up the debris. It's a great responsibility, and it's a detriment that it's a mess up there. I believe we need to respect. This is just the beginning of respecting the Aina, and of course, again, the burial sites. It'd be like someone's digging up my mom and my dad's grave, and I wouldn't appreciate it either. So I think we can form task force. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Kawano. Nancy, if you could present Ms. Kawano with one last question to end your session here, please.
Yes, of course. Can you tell us one thing about the Hawaii County government today that inspires or motivates you to want to be our mayor?
I love this state. I'm of Japanese American ancestry. I'm of two cultures. My father was American, my mother was Japanese. And I feel like I belong here. And I feel like anybody that's here trying to do good things belongs here too. And Hawaii has been good to me. And I'd like to give back. And I think I have fresh ideas, and I think I have the ability to build strong alliances and bring commonality and put commonality on the table and find out what we all agree upon and move forward. And I think that's very, very doable.
Thank you, Ms. Kawano. Thank you for joining us this evening. Appreciate your time. All the best to you. Aloha.
Having us, thank
you very
you.
much.
Speak to the public. Aloha.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to welcome back Ms. Ma, Sandy Ma, with Executive Director with Common Cause, to give us some last updates on the vote by mail process for the elections of 2020. Thank you again, Sandy, for joining us.
Thank you. So just some few final comments about vote by mail for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night. We are voting all by mail for the 2020 elections, and I just wanted to let you guys know you should have received this yellow. I live in Oahu, so mine says HNL Honolulu. This yellow signature request from your county clerk's office is asking you to update your signature. And some people have been kind of confused by this, like why do I have to update my signature? You should have my signature already. And the reason is people's signature change over time. As we get older, our signature can vary. And so the county clerks have been sending out these yellow signature verification cards asking people to update their signatures, because everyone is voting by mail now in 2020. And so they want to have the most recent updated signature on file for us. If you don't fill out the signature card, because I have gotten some comments from people that they've shredded the signature card already, call your clerk's office to get another copy of the signature card. Everyone's signature card should have a unique barcode on it. Mine has one here, a unique barcode identifier on it. And so you know you're not sending multiple signature cards to the county clerk's office. And so the reason the signature card is used is so that they keep a template on file. When you complete your ballot, what you do is you fill out your ballot. It goes into a secrecy sleeve. The secrecy sleeve goes into a return envelope that's postage prepaid. You sign the outside of the envelope. They take the outside of the envelope and they scan the signature on the outside of the envelope with the template signature on file, which is what they get off of the signature verification card. Now, if you don't fill this out and you never fill this out before voting comes around, that's okay. They will just use the signature they have from your state ID or your state driver's license. Or you could go vote in person at the one of the 2 voter service centers that's on the Big Island. So that's what's going to happen. One of the other questions that I've been getting quite frequently is, wait a minute, my signature never matches. Every time I sign something, it's always different. The signature match that they're looking for is not a direct 100% match. So it's not like you could trace your signature over another piece of paper and it looks exactly the same. That's not how the signature match works. So it's not 100% identical match. So it's kind of like close enough. If there's a problem with the signature, if there's a problem with your ballot, under the vote by mail law, the clerk's office will contact the registered voter to come in to the clerk's office to fix the ballot within 5 days of an election day. So that's another reason to update your signature so that you won't be called in to update your signature, so someone doesn't call you in to make sure that that is you that actually signed the ballot. So there's a 5-day correction period. So that is the purpose of the signature match, and sign the outside of your ballot when you send it back in. It has to be received by the clerk's office by 7 p.m. on election day. If you want to vote in person or drop off your ballot in person, drop it off at one of the 7 drop boxes around your county. If you want to drop it off at a voter service center and there's a line form and you are in line by 7 p.m., that is fine. You could stay in line and that's acceptable under the law also. So I think I am right on time, James.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Yes, thank you so much. And we just had our last caller come in here to our last candidate for the evening, and I'll unmute him in a little bit. But once again, I want to thank Sandy Ma for joining us. She'll be here tomorrow night to present more of the same information about the vote by mail system and the process that we're changing into for 2020. So thanks again, Sandy Ma, and your efforts with Common Cause, and thank you for joining us this evening. At this point, I'd like to welcome Wendell Ka'ayueha to join us on the call here. He has just called in, and I will put up a picture of him.
Aloha.
Aloha, Wendell. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I just appreciated you guys taking the time.
Absolutely, Wendell. It's great to have you on the call here. We're going to give you a couple minutes here to share a little bit about yourself for a 2-minute self-introduction. So if you don't mind, you have the floor, and I'll give you 2 minutes to talk a little bit about yourself. Thank you. Okay,
real fast. I came up from Oahu in 1968. I participated with a Coca-Cola company. Then from there, I moved on to Suisun. Then Suisun, I did an accounting job, and I did sales of that because I wanted to know the whole island. But then, I enjoyed it so much. I raised a family over here. I was a farmer for 48 years on Department of Hawaiian Homes, Pane'ewa. I built 2 radio stations, one in Pane'ewa, Kahu Radio and AM. I built another one 9 years ago in Pahala. So I enjoyed building radio station, commercial and nonprofit radio station. I went to the University of Hawaii. I did 3 degrees up there, communication, political science, and a minor in economics. And right now I just retired, but I did a lot of filming of all these politicians and all going on for about 13 years. So I know what's cooking behind the closed doors and all that stuff. So I'm eager to get on board as mayor and use the county facilities to help out people.
Thank you, Wendell. Appreciate that. Appreciate your time here. I'll now welcome one of our board members, Louis Dubois, to ask you a couple questions for the next 12 minutes. Louis, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, James. And thank you, Mr. Ka'ayueha, for...
Oh, just Wendell.
Wendell's good. All right. Thank you. All right. So let's, we have some questions from the community for you. And yes, let's get into them. In light of the recent economic impacts of COVID-19, how would you move Hawaii County towards a more diversified and resilient economy? And if you could please provide any specific examples.
Well, the biggest thing, I would never shut down the county. It's like cutting the head off a snake. You know, the county, it was the resources they have, like the licensed DMV and the resources, was really important for people to, you know, to make themselves available. The county should make themselves available. I would never have closed that county down. And the other thing is that, you know, this county have so much resources. They have about 12 departments. None of the resources in all the time I've been on this island ever been used for the people of Hawaii, for the people of this whole island. I want to get in there and make use of the resources for the residents and the ohana of the island, and not for career politicians, not for the unions, not for anybody else but the people of Hawaii.
Great, thank you for your answer. How would you balance the county budget with the reduction in revenue predicted as a result of COVID-19?
You know, the biggest thing with the county, they haven't had, that I recall, they haven't had an independent auditor, a CPA. The first thing I want to do is bring in an independent auditor into the county building, and all the departments, especially the ones that handle money, have accountability of what's going on. A lot of things going through the puka and nobody even know what's going on. So an independent, a CPA, to do the finance report on all the departments in the county. Then the other thing I want to do, once we find out where we stand money-wise, I can never see, I'm a senior citizen myself, you keep on increasing the taxes every 2 years. Now, if the present mayor get in again, he's going to raise it to 6.5%. Senior citizens cannot afford that. And once we find out where we stand financially with the county after have CPA, independent CPA, check it out. What I want to do is find out what costs can we cut. You know, all of us independent guys that have business, when we see like this virus thing, you have to start finding ways of cutting costs, not increasing pay raises, not increasing anything else, but find a way to cut costs, you know, whether it's financial costs or even shutting down some of these non-productive departments. Get 9 people in one couple of departments, get 12 people. Non-productive, just killing time. Shut them down. And I want to see we bring in income by working with private people. Whatever these guys against hemp, Hamakua had 840 acres, and it's still till today, 25 years, nothing has been done. I got a lot of ag guys that want to come on, the hemp guys want to come on, so the county can make money. And of course, the county just started subcontracting the bus system. That's good, but they can't do a half or quality job in a bus system. Contract the whole damn thing out so we get income. Contract out the county dump so we get income. Contract out the golf course so we get income. We need income, not taxes.
Great, thank you for that thorough answer. If you're elected as mayor, you're going to be tasked with hiring a lot of officials, department heads, deputies, and other staff. How do you plan to make these appointments, and what are you going to be looking for in these key staff members?
Okay, the key thing is really, I talked to a lot of people already. I'm not going to bring anybody from the outside like all the previous mayors. They bring their friends in to run different departments, and the friends don't know beans about what's going on in each department. I talked to some department guys, they're middle management. You know, they got supervisors, they got superintendent above them. I'm going to make use of them and move them up because they have the, well, a good example is if you go to anywhere, any building, anywhere, even when I was a school custodian, You ask the custodian what's going on at that top. A lot of these middle management guys are young guys. They're under 45. They have the knowledge, but they get stepped down. So I'm going to move them up. All the department except the park and recreation will come from inside the department. So we don't waste any time cutting our expenses and keeping our costs down.
Okay, thank you. How would you help Hawaii County become energy self-reliant and reduce our dependence on fossil fuels?
I'm a strong supporter of geothermal, Mike down there in Kupuna. I support him all the way, and he's been having a lot of hassles. I support the new one coming up with Warren Lee at Pepe Kale. They're doing their project, but I would support even though the projects, the wind projects, the solar panel projects. I would make sure the county fully support every one of these companies and don't give them a bad time trying to get their license and their permits to build the energy plant. I'm for energy, whatever energy going to help out Helco. And here's the thing, I did a lot of filming with Helco bosses and all that. We as customers don't really get that much benefit, but these companies, the resource companies that can help Helco if they lose power, lose fuel, they'll help Helco by feeding Helco energy. But the main thing is to keep Helco plant going. That's the main thing between the plant and the resource, the energy resource people. They sell the energy to Helco to make sure Helco don't have a blowout or Helco don't have a blackout on this island, especially on the west side of Hawaii, with all the hotels and resources.
And do you support hydrogen as an alternative to fossil fuels for transportation? And if so, what would you do as mayor to expedite this? And if you don't support it, why not?
Well, any energy, like on Oahu, they get the buses that don't use diesel. They use the energy resources. I'll support whatever operation it takes to keep our costs down in the county. And also the biggest part is to assist these companies. You gotta invite them to come to the Big Island and help them.
Okay, thank you. Affordable housing and homelessness were serious issues before COVID-19, but many fear it will get worse with the high unemployment that we're seeing. Can you share some specific strategies that you will pursue to address homelessness and the lack of affordable housing?
Hope Services worked with the present mayor in Hilo by using the old hospital. Hope Service is about 10 miles away from the encampment of the homeless in Hilo. And I seen the homeless out in the corner side on the beach. You got to take the resource to them because they can't go walking or hitchhiking to the resources. And a lot of these people that are presently working with the county, they're really employing more people than they're helping. Homelessness is a problem, but you really got to go down the streets and talk with these guys. They're the homeless guys. And I know the homeless because I'm security guard at the Bank of Hawaii, and I used to be down Cafe Pesto, and I talk with these guys. Half of them want to be left alone, but find them a place. And they just put up a couple of about 20 homes, small little cubicle at the old airport in Hilo. Beautiful. That's terrific. And the guy can stay as long as he wants in the building. And they got water and bathroom. They have to walk to the swimming pool. That cubicle building, just a small little cubbyhole building, is terrific. We got to move them to that type of living for the homeless. As compared to the one on the streets, those guys at the swimming pool, the old swimming pool, the old airport, they're doing fabulous. And I know a lot of guys, they were barely making a living, but now they're healthy, strong, They take a shower every day. That's what we need on Kona side. We need more in Hilo side. We got to help the homeless. But another key that we cannot forget is helping the younger generation, the husband and wife with 2 or 3 kids. They're only a couple of paychecks away from being on the streets too. We cannot forget them. If I'm going to help the homeless, I want to help them too, for they can make a living. And these guys, the husband and wife, they're working, but they're still struggling. We need to get county housing for these people. They have county housing, but you have to make $25,000 less, and you have to be senior citizen. What's up with that? How about open up county housing for the younger generation? For every one you make for the senior citizens, make one for the younger generation.
All right. Well, thank you for that very thorough answer, and thank you for your time. It looks like we're coming up on the end of your time here, so I just wanted to give you one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you please share one specific thing that you have devoted a lot of time and energy to that you think demonstrates why the residents of the island of Hawaii should vote for you?
Well, what we gotta do is stop being anti-Kona, anti-Hilo, anti-Puna, anti-Ka'u. We gotta get all these communities not together, but help the communities that have problems as individual areas. You can't pour the money into Kona and Hilo, and Puna, Ka'u, Kohala got zero. They all have to be equal. Enough for Hilo, enough for Kona, but Kohala, Puna, Ka'u, those outside areas need help first, and I would help them first. Of all the resources they need, the guys on the Hamakua Coast, Ocala, all those guys on the Hamakua Coast, they need help.
Well, thank you, Wendell, for your time with us. That concludes our full
minute. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you. Aloha.
Appreciate your time. Aloha. All the best to you.
Aloha. Thank you.
Okay, James. Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha. And just a couple of quick announcements and brief updates before we close tonight's meeting here. First, I want to thank all of you for joining us online on the live stream and for your feedback on everything that's going on here. We appreciate you watching this and learning about these candidates. Tonight we had 6 candidates, and I'll show them once again. I'll showcase them on the screen here. I'd also like to thank our Waimea Community Association Treasurer, Louis Dubois, and one of our board members, Nancy Carr-Smith, for joining in and asking questions of our candidates. These same questions will be asked of the candidates the next 2 nights. We'll be having different board members join us. And let's see, so a couple things. Tomorrow we'll be hearing let me just share my screen here quickly with you. We have 5 candidates tomorrow. Let's see. So 5 candidates tomorrow. We have, in alphabetical order, we have Paul Bryant, Kelly Greenwell, Stacy Higa, Harry Kim, and Tante Urban. So those are the 5 that will join us tomorrow. That's, like I said, that's in alphabetical order, but they're not in order of their appearance. We'll also be posting information about Common Cause on our website for the links about that, and all the information that Executive Director of Common Cause, Hawaii, Sandy Ma, joined us and talked about us earlier, with a lot of very important information about that, about the voter signature card and the vote by mail system. And she'll be joining us tomorrow to talk more about that and kind of give you some more updates, all that, and present some of those same statistics and information that is necessary for voting in this cycle. I'd also like to say that on Wednesday, we did invite all the candidates, and so Wednesday we're also holding a forum in the evening. And at this point, we'll be joined by 3 candidates, and in alphabetical order, that's Mikey Glendon, Ikaika Marzo, and Ted Shanafelt. All candidates were invited, and we're still waiting to hear back from one, and if she can join us, that would be on Wednesday as well. As candidates do, send us pictures and bio little write-ups. We'll put it on our website, and we'll make sure that anything that you need to learn of the candidates can be located on our website, If you need to find their website or a place to contact them, we'll build a little place on our website to find that. And once again, our website is waimeatown.org. And let me just show you quickly here. So here's this little thing. So Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we're doing this forum, waimeatown.org. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Once again, mahalo to the candidates that joined us. This was our first stab at our virtual file forum this evening. And so I want to thank the candidates that joined us this evening. From the top, we had Bob Fitzgerald, Mike Ruggles, Neil Azevedo, Mitch Roth, Yumi Kawano, and Wendell Ehuaya. So thank you to the candidates for joining us on the first night. We look forward to seeing everyone online tomorrow. And for our day 2 of our Waimea Community Association virtual candidate forum for our mayoral portion. Just a heads up, we will also be doing a candidate forum for County Council and Hawaii County Prosecutor later this month. And those dates can be found on our website. So on behalf of the Waimea Community Association Board, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I wish you good health, be well, aloha.